Hold up, guys. I had like two different videos planned. Two different videos I could have done and talked about this Friday, but this seemed more pressing. I had to talk about it. I mean, the drama is crazy, guys. Seriously. What is up, you guys? Welcome to The Collective. My name is Furman, and in this video, we are going to be talking about this crazy shenanigans that Sony pulled on us by dropping or announcing the PS5 Pro. But before we talk about that, don't forget to like this video, share this video, and subscribe to my channel for more awesome content just like this. Let's just get into it. So the PS5 Pro has been something that has been rumored for like the last year or two, honestly. Everyone's been talking about it. I didn't really talk about it very much because, I mean, honestly, what is there to talk about? I'm not really somebody that was super excited about it, just because what can they offer? What can the PS5 Pro actually offer that'll make somebody want to buy it? So now, you know, our Lord and Savior Mark Cerny came out and gave us this awesome little 10-minute direct where he talked about everything that the PS5 Pro was going to be, what it's going to accomplish, what its price is, and when it's going to drop. So when I started watching the video, I was actually pretty excited because the whole point of the PS5 Pro is basically to blur the lines between fidelity and performance. One of the things that he mentioned was the fact that most of the time people were picking performance over fidelity. So people care more about a smooth frame rate, a smooth high frame rate, than, you know, graphical fidelity. And honestly, for the most part, I am on that same boat too. Most of the time I do just end up picking performance just because I like having a nice smooth frame rate and I like having it at 60 frames too. Although I will say I ended up switching it to fidelity mode for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth because that performance mode was absolutely dog poop. I mean, it was horrible. It would go from 60 frames and then it would just drop down, and it dropped down so many times that I just got sick of it, and I was like, you know what, let me just do the 30 frames capped, call it good. So yeah, you know, the idea that this thing is going to blur the lines between that and it's going to make it so that you have a better performance, like a more solid performance, is something that I actually am really excited about, something that I think is really cool. But you know, the biggest controversy when it comes to this thing is the fact that it costs $700. It is going to cost $700 for the PS5 Pro. Now obviously I have done a poll which you guys took part in, thank you very much, and I'm going to show you right here, where, you know, I asked you guys if you guys were going to be picking up the PS5 Pro, and literally the majority of you guys said no, and understandably so. Now I don't fall under that category just because of the fact that I'm kind of sort of like a super fan, and at the same time, you know, it's for the YouTube channel, so I really do want to buy it and I want to review it and talk about whether it's worth it or not, which obviously we know 9 times out of 10 it is absolutely not worth it. But I will be picking this thing up, and you know, I am still kind of excited for it, although I am kind of at a point where I'm like, man, should I just sell my old PS5? That's gonna be a hard one. Now remember how I told you that the PS5 Pro was gonna be $700? Yeah, that's just for the digital version. So nothing comes with it. The only thing you get is the power cord, the HDMI cable, and the controller. That's it. Which is insane. And yeah, you heard it right. The all digital version is just $700. So if you want to buy the disc drive, you're gonna have to pay an extra probably $80 to $100. And if you want to stand it up vertically, that's going to be extra money too. So essentially, by the end of it, you are going to end up paying something close to $800 US, which is unbelievable. This is an extremely hefty price tag, and honestly, it's really scary, the fact that this is actually happening for a mid-cycle refresh. It's not the PS6, it's the PS5 Pro. It's the in-between guy, and we're shooting up to $700, potentially $800. That's kind of nuts. Now, one thing that nobody talked about, but I did notice, is the fact that the PS5 is designed kind of like the new PS5s are, where it's got like the 4 face plates. It's got 4 pieces. It's like kind of like divided in half. So essentially, I think all of your old faceplates are basically useless. They just won't work with it anymore. And that is super dumb, because I have the Spider-Man edition PS5. So what I was planning on doing is getting the new PS5 Pro and then just slapping the Spider-Man faceplates, because obviously they look way cooler than white, but I can't do that now. Super dumb, super lame. Another thing that I noticed is the fact that all of the games that they showed off were older games. So, some of them were like PS4 games, some of them were PS5 games. Well, the majority of them were PS5 games, but they were all older games. And that is, I think, another thing that made people sour. I think it would have helped people kind of want, be more accepting of the console if they had showed some new games, if they showed something crazy. It would have given people a reason to want to get it. Let me take you back to when they dropped the PS4 Pro. Remember, guys, when they announced the PS4 Pro, they announced it with Horizon Zero Dawn. And that was the game that was showing off 4K gaming. That was the big draw of the PS4 Pro. There was nothing like that in this. I mean, they didn't even show Astro, which is just crazy. But yeah, that's another thing that I think, it would have helped people be not as mad, not as upset if they would have shown a game off. They didn't do any of that. Now, earlier in this video, I mentioned that the PS5 Pro kind of scares me. And, I probably went with that as the title name. And this is kind of why it scares me. It's obviously because of the price, and you guys already know that. Everyone's freaking out about the price. Nobody likes the price. Well, most people don't like the price. There's a lot of, fanboys out there. There's a lot of super fans like myself that, we're kind of okay with it. It doesn't bother us that much. But there's just a lot of people that are going to be left out. Like, I remember when the PS5 was announced, $500 was a lot of money. And this feels kind of like a worse version of that. This is kind of insane. So I don't know what's going to happen here. And, I'm also thinking about the future too. I'm not just thinking about the PS5 Pro. What's going to happen when the PS6 comes out? The PlayStation 6 gets announced and it's like $1,000. At that point, you're basically paying for a pretty decently optimized PC, and most people can just kind of DIY that thing. So this is getting kind of crazy, and I'm kind of a little bit concerned, and I'm worried about that, because I don't want the PS6 to be super expensive like that. Like, it's getting to the point where, normal people just aren't gonna get it. Like, who's gonna be able to afford that? You tell me. Like, people like me, where we basically buy every single console. We have all three. We have the Dynasty, Nintendo, Microsoft, and Sony. At that point, at that price tag, and if everybody else follows suit, man, it's going to be kind of hard to, keep it going like that. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen. And, obviously, because of the fact that it's coming without a disk drive, they're kind of trying to assimilate and push us towards this all digital future where, we don't buy physical games anymore. And they're removing that aspect of it. And obviously, as a collector, I kind of hate that idea. I extremely hate that idea. I hate the fact that every single game you buy has a day one patch and there's a huge install that you have to download. It's just crazy annoying. It's super inconvenient. And at the same time, it's kind of unfair, because what would happen if you have no internet? You have no access to the game that you just bought. What's going to happen in 10, 20, 30 years when the PS5 is not online anymore? The servers are shut down. Are you going to be able to play your old games? I don't think so. And that super sucks. And then the last thing, and the last reason why this whole situation scares me, is because of the fact that the games are just getting more and more massive. And that's obviously makes sense, because the more powerful of a console you have, the more it's able to do. So people are going to start pushing the limits, and the games are going to get bigger and bigger and bigger, and they're going to get even more spaced out. I mean, guys, the PS5 only has like 20 games that are like legitimately PlayStation exclusives. Just 20 games. Maybe less than that, honestly. And the Switch has way more. Way more. That's the same thing with Xbox too. They're struggling too, and it's because they're trying to make these massive, humongous games, and it's kind of really sucks. If it wasn't for the fact that we have third-party and indie developers, these consoles would be freaking disgusting. They would be horrible. Nintendo is the only one that literally consistently puts games out all the time. Every year, at least 3 or 4 really good AAA titles. Every time. Nobody else is doing that. And it's because they're focusing on these massive, humongous games. So development time is not getting smaller, it's getting bigger. And with that, we're going to have more games spaced out, and it's just going to be less. It's going to be a bigger drought than what we're already experiencing. I mean, what the heck is going on with Xbox? They bought 200 studios like 3 or 4 years ago. What are they doing? What's going on? Alright guys, that is my little rant. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and let me know in the comment section, are you guys going to be picking up the PS5 Pro? Are you going to be waiting for it to come with the disc in December 5? Or are you just going to pass on it altogether and hope that it goes on discount, heavily discounted, kind of like the PSVR 2 did when they were selling it for $350 instead of $550. Alright, and as always, don't forget to like this video, share this video, and subscribe to my channel for more awesome content just like this. And we will see you guys on the next video. Peace! $700 and no stand. No disk drive. Disgusting. You should be ashamed of yourself. What were they thinking? Mark Cerny.